After the year 477, Empress Dowager Feng of the Northern Wei dynasty, supported by a political group loyal to her, which included Tuoba aristocrats, prominent Han scholars, court ministers, and capable eunuchs of the inner court, initiated bold cultural reforms in social customs, politics, and the economy among the Tuoba Xianbei people, who had just emerged from a tribal alliance society. She achieved success in reforming old Xianbei customs and the imperial bureaucratic system, marking a significant step forward in the Sinicization of the Tuoba Xianbei people. In the year 486, building on the favorable momentum of the earlier cultural reforms in the Northern Wei dynasty, Empress Dowager Feng personally oversaw the implementation of the important equal field system and the Three Elders system, bringing about significant changes to Northern Wei society. From the War of the Eight Princes during the Western Jin period to the early years of the Northern Wei, the Central Plains experienced prolonged warfare, causing widespread displacement as people fled their homes, and vast areas of farmland were left uncultivated. As a result, state tax revenues were severely affected. In response, upon the recommendation of the Han official Li Engshi, Empress Dowager Feng ordered the implementation of the equal field system. The Northern Wei court distributed ownerless and uncultivated land to farmers, who in return paid taxes to the government and undertook certain labor and military duties. The reclamation of these abandoned lands played a positive role in restoring and developing agricultural production in the Central Plains. It also helped free farmers from the control of powerful aristocratic families, transforming them into registered householders, free commoners, under state administration. This significantly increased the number of self-cultivating farmers under government control, secured a stable source of taxation and labor, and strengthened the centralization of power. Although landlords' estates were not included in the land redistribution, the equal field system effectively curbed the severe problem of land annexation by the wealthy. At the same time, the Northern Wei government also changed the long-standing administrative practice, since the dynasty's founding, of entrusting local powerful landlords with grassroots-level governance on behalf of the central court. In February of the year 486, Li Chong, a favored official of Empress Dowager Feng, proposed abolishing the loosely organized system in which local powerful landlords were entrusted with grassroots administrative duties, and instead implementing the Three Elders system, Sanjiangji. The Three Elders system stipulated that 5 households formed a lin, neighborhood, 5 lin formed a li, village unit, and 5 li formed a dang, district unit. Each level, lin, li, and dang, had an elder in charge, collectively referred to as the Three Elders. These elders were selected from among local residents who were capable, law-abiding, and respected. The household of a lin elder was exempt from one person's corvée labor for the government, the li elder's household was exempt from 2, and the dang elders from 3. If they served 3 years without any misconduct, they could be promoted by 1 level. The main duties of the Three Elders included inspecting household registrations, collecting taxes and labor obligations, managing production, and maintaining public order. After Li Chong put forward his proposal, it was immediately met with strong opposition from many court officials and the entrenched local powers. However, after careful consideration, Empress Dowager Feng firmly overruled the objections and supported Li Chong in implementing the Three Elders system. Although the elders were still selected from among local wealthy landlords, their duties were now directly accountable to the county and prefectural authorities. This significantly improved the central court's understanding and control of local affairs, thereby strengthening the power and governance of the Northern Wei state. To quickly address the ideological gap between her own people and the more culturally advanced Han Chinese, Empress Dowager Feng took strong measures to abolish the primitive shamanistic practices and other backward customs of the Xianbei. She honored Confucius, issued an edict for sacrifices at Confucian temples, and conferred the title of Chongqing Dafu, Grand Master of Reverence for the Sage, on Kongqing, the 28th generation descendant of Confucius. She also led the implementation of various Sinicization policies. Empress Dowager Feng placed great importance on Confucian education, hiring scholars well-versed in Confucian classics and historical knowledge to establish schools in local areas, where they widely recruited students and promoted traditional Chinese culture. Empress Dowager Feng showed great care and affection for Emperor Xiaowen, Tuoba Hong, from a young age and placed high hopes in him. She wished for him to fulfill her aspirations by leading the Tuoba Xianbei people through the process of Sinicization, integrating them into Chinese civilization, and ultimately becoming a true emperor of a Central Plains dynasty. Empress Dowager Feng was always very strict in her upbringing of Emperor Xiaowen. She required the eunuchs attending to him to report on his conduct every 10 days, and failure to do so on time would result in punishment. At times, the eunuchs would fabricate reports, causing Emperor Xiaowen to be punished by Empress Dowager Feng. Despite feeling wronged, Tuoba Hong would remain silent and say nothing. Tuoba Hong was also very obedient. On one occasion, he returned to the palace 2 hours later than the agreed time after going out for a leisure trip. Before Empress Dowager Feng could reprimand him, Tuoba Hong voluntarily confined himself to his room, dedicating himself to reading for 3 days without eating or drinking, eventually collapsing from exhaustion. Empress Dowager Feng not only assigned Han Chinese teachers well-versed in Confucian classics to Tuoba Hong, but she also personally taught him. She wrote down her years of governance ideas in works such as the Quan Jiagu, Song of Caution, with over 300 chapters, and the Huan Gao, Imperial Edicts, in 18 essays, which she provided to Tuoba Hong as learning material, guiding his education and serving as a code of conduct for him. On the first day of the first month in 486, at the age of 19, Emperor Xiaowen, Tuoba Hong, finally donned the emperor's ceremonial robes and crown to receive foreign envoys' tribute. From that year onward, Empress Dowager Feng intentionally began involving him in court affairs to cultivate his political abilities. Tuoba Hong was intelligent and kind, and under Empress Dowager Feng's personal education and supervision, he fulfilled her wishes. Not only did he become deeply familiar with the profound teachings of Confucian classics, but he also read widely from historical records and various schools of thought, ultimately becoming a highly learned emperor. During Empress Dowager Feng's regency, she often used her own power to bypass Emperor Xiaowen and deal directly with the entrenched domestic factions, forcefully pushing forward the Sinicization reforms. This was not an act of autocracy, but rather a reflection of her deep care for the young emperor, Tuoba Hong. She sought to shield him from the political struggles and potential dangers, demonstrating her thoughtful and considerate approach to protecting him. In September of 490, Empress Dowager Feng passed away at the Taihe Hall in the capital, Pingqing, at the age of 49. Her death caused Emperor Xiaowen great sorrow, to the point where he was inconsolable and refused to eat or drink for 5 days, mourning her deeply. In order to express his filial piety, Emperor Xiaowen constructed a mausoleum for himself about a mile northeast of Empress Dowager Feng's eternal tomb, intending to be buried there after his death, so that he could be eternally close to his grandmother. Empress Dowager Feng is one of the greatest cultural reformers in Chinese history. Not only did she guide the relatively backward northern nomadic tribal alliances to integrate into the more advanced traditional Chinese civilization, but she also ensured the survival of Chinese civilization, which was on the verge of being destroyed, through her reforms.